everyone, Bernard here with the latest Citizen vlog, and it's a City Pass today, and we're going to have a look back at a certain date, the 25th of August 1990. So that's what, as I'm doing this 30 years ago, depending on when you're watching this, but obviously as I'm doing this almost 30 years ago to the day. So yeah, we're talking a certain game that happened, Tottenham Hotspur versus Manchester City. It was the opening game of the season, and we're talking a certain Mr. Paul Lake as well as the moments in time. So a Division 1 game then. There was no such thing as the Premier League at this point in time, 1990. That was yet to come, wasn't it? So yeah, the game away at Tottenham at White Hart Lane had a good crowd attendance, 33,501. The Spurs team that day was Torstvedt, Bergson, Van der Hau, Sedgley. Some of these names I'm not familiar with now, forgotten. Howells, Mabbott, Stewart, Gascoigne, Naeem, Lineker, and I think a certain Paul Allen, an Allen there with a P, I think it was Paul Allen. City's team that day, you had Coulton, Brightwell, Ian, Poynton, Harper, Hendry, Reed, White, Lake. This is the guy, well, it's all he has to play, doesn't it? It's about him as well. Quinney, Heath, and Ward. So there you go. Our two subs were actually Redmond and Clive Allen. There you go. Clive Allen back in London. So yeah, this is what we're interested in. Please, if you're new to this little channel, that's the game we're looking at today. Please push that old subscribe button and push the bell notification so you know these things are out, so you can get to know them, and make sure your notifications set to public as well. Yeah, so I'm going to take a little read here from Paul Lake's own book. I'm Not Really Here by Paul Lake. Superb book, one of the best sports football autobiographies certainly that I've ever read. A Life of Two Halves by Mr. Paul Lake. I didn't know, I never spoke to Paul myself. I've spoke to his brother a few times, Mike Lake. He used to come in our video shop. We had a video shop in Denton in the 90s and 2000s. So I've had a couple of conversations with Mike, but never with Paul. So I'll have to say hello next time we'll see him at the Etihad. Yeah, so from his book, obviously he goes back to that day, and this is just segment taken from the book. It's the opening day of the new season. We're just hours away from our match against Spurs. The manager, Howard Kendall, is announcing the team lineup at lunchtime, and the players and staff are having a stroll around the hotel grounds. There's none of the usual laughs and larks this morning, though as the lads nervously await the final selection, we're all desperate to see our names up on the team sheet, and having to hang around for this 11th hour reveal is nothing short of agonising. Go on, Gaffer, pick me, I say to myself as I walk alongside my shell-suited colleagues. You saw what I could do in pre-season. Let me pull on that blue shirt today. Don't leave me on the bench. I'm chatting with my teammates David White and Ian Brightwell when the manager, who's been pacing ahead with the physio, solemnly beckons me over. My heart sinks. Here we go. Here's where I get dropped, and here comes Howard to let me down gently. Three of us, Colin Hendry, Steve Redmond and I, are vying for two places, and no doubt it's yours truly who's drawn the short straw. Colin Reddo are highly experienced centre-halves, and I'm a play-anywhere utility man. We need to talk, he says, gesturing for me to take a seat at a nearby bench. I sit down and fear the worst. The thing is, Lakey, I've been having a good chat with the coaches, and I want to make you captain. My jaw drops. I can't believe what I'm hearing. You've really impressed me in pre-season, son. You've grown up, you've matured, and I reckon the time's right for you to step up a gear. Yeah, but you'll be fine, don't worry, says Howard, sensing my shock, though I can hardly hear him. He goes on to explain that the captaincy might be the springboard for my career as a skipper, not just for my club, but for my country too. Christ. And there's me thinking I was going to be keeping the subs bench warm. The captain's armband is pride of place when I run out onto the White Hart Lane pitch later that afternoon. Outwardly, I'm focusing on my new duties and responsibilities, yet inside I'm doing cartwheels as the City faithful greet me with a raucous chorus of "There's only one Paul Lake." Buzzing with excitement, I trot to the centre circle, nodding as I pass Gary Lineker and Paul Gascoigne, both fresh from their Italian 90 exploits, before shaking hands with my Spurs counterpart, Gary Mabbott. And as the ref blows the whistle on that sunny August day, I enter a new phase in my life. This is it. Let the good times roll. Yeah, so that was taken from the book. Within a month, sadly, it had turned to a personal disaster for Paul, hadn't it? And City fans and football fans everywhere, I think, England fans especially. Well, this obviously the game itself, getting back to the game, had all the hype as you'd expect about after Italian night. It was the first game back, and the hype wasn't not about Lakey. I mean, that was obviously important to us as City fans, and it's certainly important to that young man. But the returning World Cup players, Lineker and of course MAINE was in full flow, wasn't it? It was a sun-drenched White Hart Lane. The old White Hart Lane, not the new one, not the new, nice pretty one, the classic old one. Sun-drenched. City could upset the Spurs fans and the media loving, perhaps. No, simply put, no, we couldn't. New captain Paul Lake was actually held to blame partly for the Lineker goal after only 2 minutes, so it wasn't the greatest start to his captaincy. But City, you know, obviously that was a bad start, but within 3 minutes City had actually equalised, and for the first certainly 15-20 minutes City were on top with David White rampaging down the wing causing utter chaos, but sadly we couldn't keep it up, unfortunately. Sadly after 30 minutes the gusto ran out a little bit, and Spurs would go on to win quite comfortably. Even though it's 3-1, it was a little bit more comfortable with that, and with the Lineker effort, and of course Gazza had to chip in with a goal as well. So there you go, 2 Lineker goals and a Gazza effort to ruin Lake's debut as captain and leave the City fans, us City fans, down. But we're never out, were we? We're never out. Quinny was voted the City man of the match by most media guys there, but sadly Paul Lake didn't have his greatest game in Sky Blue, unfortunately, as captain. Some of the other first division scores from that day was sort of quite interesting. Just before we finish off, Aston Villa 1, Southampton 1, Chelsea 2, Derby 1, Everton 2, Leeds 3, Luton 1, Crystal Palace 1, Manchester United 2, Coventry 0, Norwich 3, Sunderland 2, Nottingham Forest 1, QPR 1, Sheffield United 1, Liverpool 3, Tottenham Hotspur 3, Manchester City 1, and Wimbledon 0, Arsenal 3. So there you go. That's some of the scores also from that day. I mean, thanks for joining for this little moment in time. I thought it was a little, I just sort of looked through the scrapbooks and some of the images there you've seen on screen, and it's sort of a day I can remember. I mean, I didn't actually go to White Hart Lane that day, but yeah, I think we were all up for it, weren't we? We were looking forward to the season. It was going to be a good season actually for City, you know, obviously within reason, you know, for the state of what we'd put up with previously. Yeah, we did okay that season. Check it out yourself, obviously. If you knew over 30 years ago, if you're a youngster and you're watching this, just have a look. Just have a look at the that season, the 1991 season. To say, as I'm recording this, is 30 years ago, and of course for Paul Lake it was an important moment, isn't he? Captain of the club, fantastic. But say within 3 weeks, I think it was within 3 weeks, I think it was by mid-September, it all turned into a bit of a nightmare for our City hero, and there's a sad image there on screen of him being carried off, and obviously that was the start of not really making it back, wasn't it? That was the start of it all, unfortunately. Anyway, but thanks for joining me for this little moments in time. The 25th of August 1919, significant in the fact it was the first game of the season, significant in the fact that it was Tottenham Hotspur versus Manchester City at White Hart Lane, but no less significant that it was our wonderful Mr. Paul Lake, and a wonderful day for him that at least at the time, pre-match, he could enjoy, although it was ruined a little bit by the match. And obviously, as we say, history proved that it wasn't going to be the good times roll, was it, for our Paul Lake? Anyway, thanks for joining me. We're going to do the rest of a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your family, so look after each other. Until we meet again on another Citizen, past or present, please. This is Birded saying goodbye for now. Thanks for watching.